Well, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 1, technically, of Let's Set the Tone.
The official,
I guess, kickoff. I mean, episode 0, of course, was having the Dude 79 on here and getting him in the hot seat and having him sweat some bullets, which went over really well. There's some great clips out there. If you haven't seen that episode, I definitely tell everybody they should check that out. It was pretty fun to do that, but it's been a couple weeks. I know we had the 4th of July weekend as well, too. So I hope everybody had a, hey, babe, hi, hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
I know her.
We're still trying to check with the audio. Now, the first episode, of course, we had some audio issues. Britt, how does the audio sound right now initially from your phone? I know you're on mobile. And what we've been told is that the audio sounds definitely different from mobile to computer as well, too, or TV.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we're working with that. But as we try to figure that out, we're going to continue to figure that out and just kind of bear with us. It's a new setup down here. Great. Sounds better than last time. It's a good start there. So that's a good start. But today, episode one, technically, right? I've got Drasten here, a.k.a. Chris, but he goes by Drasten, the Dungeon Master as well, too. But
I know this isn't a bit.
What are you doing? Oh, he's doing something right now. This isn't a bit. He may have forgotten something. Oh, gotcha. There you go. Where he's back. He's back. And that's the great part about this is that I want this to feel like it's natural, like in real life as well too. Like, listen, I thrive in chaos.
I notice when we do anything.
When we do anything,
in fact,
I
our
thrive
trip today
in chaos. Oh, hey, Miz, what's up, buddy?
You don't believe in itineraries,
Appreciate
and
you.
it sucks.
It's not that I don't believe in itineraries. It's like I don't want to measure out every minute of my day, and
but
that's what you
should.
do. Well, we're gonna get into that, but we should.
You should. I'm a planner.
You are definitely a planner. So, I hope everybody had a great 4th of July. We had a fun weekend. We went up north and hung out with Britt's family. I love her family. We have a good time up there. It was really one of the first times I got a chance to, on like a vacation kind of laid back setting, got to hang out with everybody. But, everybody's so cool. Her stepmom's really fun. Her dad's funny. Like her brother, her brother Nathan is, he's fun. He's a lot like her. I mean, they're twins, but they're good nature. Like we've done a couple things where it's been the 3 of us, and I've really enjoyed, being able to do that and get to know him more continually. But they have a fun dynamic, and I really enjoy that dynamic. And it's kind of like, the dynamic that we all, I feel like, enjoy. So you're the better twin. Clearly, yes, you are the better twin. But today, we actually got to go on a beer quest, as we see. Well, you're wearing your shirt. I switched it to a 7 dungeon shirt. I don't know if you can see, but yes, we went on a beer quest today. A little bit of a disappointment to the Ascension Brewery. That'll be out in the next week or two. Half-Ass Beer Review is here.
It might be a little longer.
Yeah, he's going to Disney next week, so he's gonna be a little bit busy. But and we then after we went to the disappointing brewery that we want to go to for quite a while. We actually ended up at is it Kura
Revolving
Sushi Bar. I've been wanting to go there for a couple years now. It's been open for a couple years.
It's one of my favorite spots.
Pretty amazing. I am currently right now still uncomfortably full.
He ate too much.
Well,
for sure.
It didn't help that I was already having stomach issues earlier today.
It's not my fault.
Because of a hot sauce you wanted me to try that apparently had ghost pepper in it, which I didn't realize till after.
So a little background. I got into this hot sauce stuff recently.
Yeah, recently.
I've always liked hot sauce, but like I think Hot Ones like discovered, walked into it, and then watched a few episodes, and I was like, you know what? Like hot sauces have like really moved the last few years. There's like some really great flavors, so I want to get into some. And there's one that kept coming up. If you've got Facebook, you've probably seen stuff come up for truff, and I was like, I wonder if that stuff's any good because it's kind of pricey for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a small bottle of it at Jungle Gyms, which is one of the greatest places. And it's like the flavor, and you can't deny the flavors.
The flavor is really good. But we were eating Taco Bell breakfast, and one of the things about Taco Bell is that in the past I stopped eating it because it always made me feel like shit, like stomach aches. But I had discovered over the last couple of years that there's certain things I can and can't eat there. The beef is what gives me usually a stomach ache there. So I switched to a lot of different things. We're eating the breakfast this morning. The breakfast doesn't give me stomach aches normally, but I was trying this hot sauce, and I was globbing it on because I'm like, oh, it's delicious.
It's really good, and it's this special Darth Vader one that they came out with. It's got ghost peppers in it.
Which,
for ghost peppers, like, it wasn't a normal ghost pepper flavor.
It wasn't. However, it wasn't long after I was eating. I'm like, why is my gut gurgly? So I run to the bathroom, and I come out, and I look right at him and said, what was the peppers in that? And he's like, oh, it's ghost pepper. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And it's literally been a thing all day of me dealing with that. So
it has. I ruined him.
Point I'm getting to is, like, prior to walking into Kira, my stomach's already a little bit of a mess or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we eat all the sushi, and then, like, it's just piling onto this stuff. And we eat a fuck ton of sushi. And plus, I'm eating green tea, which is diuretic.
Well, there were three of us.
Yeah.
And we had 30 plates, and then there were like 2 or 3 like additional not counted plates.
Right. And yeah, you're right. And Josh definitely
the most of those.
The most of those. Yeah.
I had the least for sure.
Yeah, that was me.
I don't know.
Oh, well, you took a bathroom break halfway through, so yeah, you were gone for a while.
Yeah, that's when the ghost pepper caught up with me.
That's when the ghost pepper caught up with him. But I digress. So
to those that came after
that's what we've done today. I'm not in the mood to eat or drink for a while. He's drinking a beer. I'd love to have a beer, but I'm not going to be able to for a minute.
Maybe after this.
Maybe after this.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's been our day. Hopefully everybody's doing well. It's a beautiful weekend day up here. It's super hot here in Michigan on a Saturday, but
it was 96 when we came
96, yeah, a little too hot for me.
It's really hot for Michigan.
A little too hot. But anyway, so Drasten here, I'm going to have you explain a little bit about yourself just in a minute, but Drasten is of 7D Dungeons, technically, is how we say it. He streams, of course, on Twitch, has content on YouTube, Evergreen afterwards, and Spotify, and all major streaming services. But he and the guys do their D&D live on stream. It's pretty great. Been the second campaign you guys are into now. Who got you to start streaming D&D, by the way?
I think it was the dude. He like,
yeah, that guy, right?
No,
right.
No, what was funny was we had started playing, and Tone was like, "Hey, you should put that out on Mixer." And I said, "There is nobody on this earth that wants to watch me on a streaming service."
And I didn't agree with that.
I was kind of wrong. We were pretty successful on Mixer.
Yeah, well, I mean,
for being a small stream.
500,000 versus 11 million.
Right.
I guess.
But we had our small little chunk of people.
You did. You guys did. I thought you guys did really well right out the gate.
And I mean, of course, we started real rough because I had nothing. I had no gear. That's when I was using a early 2000s VHS-C camera.
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
That was using my VHS to digital conversion wire as a webcam.
Yeah.
And well, Cuddle said he would never watch this again once I
because it had the video in the corner, like
a little flashing battery.
It was pretty funny aesthetic. Like if that was something you were actually going for aesthetic, it was a good bit. But so it was definitely me. I take full responsibility and credit for them doing what they do and do well. No, I definitely was the one that's pushing. You refused to at first. You were like, no, and I'm like, listen, there's this guy out here doing it. There's other people that are doing it, and it's a lucrative thing. I mean, of course, you got Critical Role.
It was like Captain Robert, right?
Yeah,
like he was out there
I've been watching him on and off for a long time. Yeah, he's definitely, at least on Mixer, was a pioneer of it, in my opinion. So
he's kind of tapered off on Twitch.
I don't.
He still puts stuff out, but most of it's reruns.
A lot of it's reruns. I'm assuming life happens, and here we are. But you get it. But,
well, it's difficult. I mean, it is getting people together and like even he does a lot of like the canned campaigns, but like. There's a lot of prep work.
Oh yeah, we're gonna get into that too. I'm looking forward to getting a little bit of that with you too. But I do want to quickly point out that the other Banter and Babble account, it's technically the Dude 79's out there. He drank again way too much last night and is once again saying for the 12th time probably in 2 years, or about 2 years, that I'm no longer drinking ever again, which means in 2 weeks or less. He will be drinking.
If I was a betting person, which I can be, he'll be drinking Wednesday.
Yeah, he'll be drinking
because the homebrew will be on there.
He'll be drinking Wednesday.
Yeah,
definitely. So, so we're gonna talk about a few topics here. Really two. We're gonna drive home and sprinkle some stuff. We'll kind of see where it goes, but definitely D&D, since it's a big thing.
It's huge.
It's a huge thing that you do, and that I'm a very big fan of. Again, the T-shirt. T-shirt, the 7 Dungeons. But we're also going to talk a little bit about one of your big hobbies that you've gotten into over the last couple of years, which is home brewing beer. So,
crap.
Anyway, so let me pause myself for a moment just so we can give you a chance to chat. So tell everyone a little bit about yourself. But first, before you do that, where did the name Drasten specifically come from?
Oh, oh, this goes back. And it's funny how it's come full circle at this time. And I want to give a little background. We're not on a time limit, right? We can go as long as we want, right?
We technically can. Like, I mean, you go ahead. No, this is your time. I will. If I decide to cut you, I will. But no, you're good.
So getting back, growing up in the 80s, 90s, you know, original Nintendo stuff, there were some bit string limitations on video game names. Everybody had their name for high score tables, which I have proliferated his pinball machine with this weekend.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, we'll post those later. So my original online ID was Fang. I don't know if you may remember this because you had statements about it.
I'm trying to remember.
This goes way back.
Is this like from, are we talking like Mud?
No, because that was Sever.
Okay, so this was before.
No, this may be before, and you may have never heard this before, and it was because there was always a short character string limit for high score names.
Yeah, you always had 4 or 3.
And I was a big fan of vampires and different things, so it was like, you know, Fang. So it actually, one of my friends that I went to school with, one day we're in class, right? And he slides this piece of paper over in class, and it was basically like,
"Kiss me."
No, I wish it was that. No. It's like, you're standing in a room, you see blah, 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 blah. What do? Write it here. And I'm like, you know, and passed it back to him. And then he's like, do you want to play D&D? And I'm like, oh, I can't because I'll burn in hell. More on that later, I'm sure.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay,
we'll get into that.
So, and so we ended up playing D&D. So it was actually, Drasten it just came to me from nowhere. I found out now it's like an actual name overseas, which is strange.
What does it mean?
I don't even know.
What overseas? Like, are we talking like a specific country?
Germany, somewhere over in that area. Okay. Yeah, I have seen people with that name, which is really cool. So, to the Drastens,
it's even cooler if you drop the D.
That's a whole nother conversation.
That is a whole other conversation.
So it was actually my first character, and you're going to appreciate it, in D&D, and this would have been 2nd edition. Or 1.5 or something like that. One of those very early, I think it was 2nd edition. And he was a elven thief.
Nice.
My first character ever in D&D was a thief.
Yeah, nice.
So, which they don't even go by thief anymore.
Yeah, they didn't have rogue.
But yeah, that's where it came from. And it just kind of stuck. And I want to say this, bear with me, my memory is not as good as it used to be. I don't blame the beer at all. There was a game I used to play on the computer called Life and Death. This goes back to CMYK, like the pinks and blues and things.
Yeah.
And I think I named myself Aston on there as the doctor name. So it was Dr. Aston, which came out to Drasten.
Oh.
And I think that just kind of subconsciously came in, and I just wrote it on a piece of paper.
Damn. So from that probably, like you said, subconsciously created the name of for your first D&D character. See, I didn't even know that.
No,
I've never heard that story before. So that's pretty wild. So I mean, I've known you for the entire time as Drasten. Now up here, you referred to, at one point you were referred to as Drasten, one of Tone's Star Wars friends, because we had a clique of us that were all Star Wars friends. And pretty much everybody just calls you Drasten, right?
In fact, I remember the first time you introduced me to some people. It was the vividness of this. It was at a mall. Yeah. We went there. It was a book signing or something.
It was at Aladdin's Castle here in the mall in Saginaw.
And
we did a meetup.
You were like, oh, this is my friend Chris. And they're like, oh, hi. And I'm like, well, I play games with you. And they're, oh, you know him as Drasten. And then everybody's like, oh, it's Drasten. So I'm like, everyone in Michigan knows me as Drasten instead of my real name. So.
And I feel like a lot of people, even your own people, still call you Drasten as well, too.
I told my wife I'm actually going to put it on my gravestone.
Yeah, well, Brittany just said you're officially going to be being called Dr. Aston from now on. So
MD.
Dr. Drasten, MD.
Major dick.
That's awesome. Yeah, and like I said, I had never heard that story before. So
see, you're learning something already.
now, well, hey, that's what this is about. So, so talk about the first time we met in game. Do you recall this? I can see it in my head on my 4 RAM gigabyte
so
PC.
So I got a little background on this because this is all weird, right? It's because me and you did not go to school together. We didn't live in the same state together. We
didn't know each other until the first like video game that we played together.
Right. But we had a mutual friend.
Yes.
That I played a MUD with, and if you know what a MUD is, great. If you don't look it up.
MUD is
it's a text-based RPG.
That's all it is. It's all command-based. It's very, very simplistic. All text.
But it was like life for many years.
For a lot of people.
Yeah. So I had met Jay on there, and he was like, "Hey, we're gonna play this new Star Wars MMO that's coming out. I've got some friends up here that are gonna play."
I get nostalgic.
And I said, "Well, yeah, I'm gonna play for sure." You know, I had played some EverQuest at that point. I hadn't been serious into EverQuest. I don't think.
I think you had been.
Maybe I had been and quit.
Yeah, your Bard had already seen its day at that
and I'd already sold it. Yeah, because I had to. That's when I realized. Because
I don't know. I thought I had saw Drasten one time during Star Wars Galaxy. Maybe it was after we started.
That was my main character. The Zabrak.
Right.
Was Drasten.
Right. So anyway, yeah. Continue. So my bad.
So he's like, yeah. So we're gonna go meet up so we can get gilded up with all our friends, the people we know, so that the Empire can
server?
Rule forever. Oh, it's right there. Eclipse. Yep. And do you know why I lean toward Eclipse? You don't know this.
I don't know this.
I loved Mitsubishi Eclipses at the time. I wanted one so bad.
That continue. I don't want to even. Yeah, they were pretty cool cars.
But if you think back to the racing games, Top Gear and stuff, the Eclipse, and like
I know.
People were putting light kits on them, and
you're a weirdo.
Yeah,
weirdo. Okay. Anyways,
we meet, and it was in Tatooine. I think it was even like Mos Eisley or one of those.
It was Mos Espa. That's where we all started.
Because we all started right
which
there.
Is the town that Anakin Skywalker grew up in as a kid.
And this basically naked Wookiee walked up. Not even like a bandolier across the chest.
You couldn't get him even that early. I was using a carbine pistol.
And the most original name in the world was there for this Wookiee, and it was Tonaka Banaka. Like the breath spray. Tonaka Banaka.
Was it Banaka? Yeah, I do bits like that. Maybe. I don't know. Could have been.
I don't know, but it was Tonaka. And it was just, see, back then we didn't have, we weren't even using Vent. Or
we didn't use
chat service.
It was just in the in-game chat.
All in-game talking.
Yeah.
So we didn't. So the majority of us getting to know each other was typing out in-game.
Yeah, originally.
I don't remember what prompted the first phone call.
I don't either. I will say what I remember of that exact thing is that I don't know. I don't remember how. I think we said, "Hey, we're all online. We want to start a guild." I think Jay was online as well too.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gonna meet up at the Mos Espa bank terminals.
Yeah,
that's where it was. The bank terminals.
Money.
Right. Well, you were. I don't know if Grundar was with you that first meetup.
I don't think so.
Or somebody was with you. I do remember that. Maybe it was actually might have been Matopi. Honestly, I think it was Matopi.
Yeah.
I just remember me standing there and being this big old fucking Wookiee and this pint-sized fucking Zabrak with horns come up and red eyes walking up to me and just kind of like looking up to me.
And you know why I'm always small characters like that?
Yeah.
This came from EverQuest.
Yeah.
Because it gave me the sense that I was actually walking faster than what I actually was.
Oh, see.
Because when I played tall characters, I always felt like I was walking too slow, and I'm like, funny. I can't do that. So I made the shortest Zabrak. Hands down, still one of the best character creators in any game. Just putting that out there.
For SWG, Star Wars Galaxies?
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into that conversation today, but I will tell you in the future, there's going to be a conversation we're going to have about that really deep. Yeah. Because we could talk for a long time about.
Well, and it's so exciting that there's the original developer people are making a new game right now.
Which one is that?
The one I've been sharing in chat.
Oh, fuck off! I don't want to talk about it yet. Yeah, I know.
I'm scared.
So that was how that worked. So how about our first out of game meet? So we don't remember how the first phone call prompted. I don't remember. It might have been over my RAM. I was having issue. Remember, I was running through like.
I've been your IT guy for 20-some years.
Yeah, so, yeah. Next weekend, by the way, you're doing IT work. But I remember I was having issues because we were in Corellia. We're on Corellia. We're in Cornet, capital city, and we were chasing down some rebel scum.
As we did.
Yep, Yumi and Matopi, and we were running trying to get them, and we were flagged PvP. Yep. And I was getting like screen chunks, and you're like, that's probably a RAM thing. So I believe it was me and you on the phone for the first time was trying to figure out how to add my RAM.
Yeah, because I probably just sent you my number. I'm like, dude, just call me. This was back in landline days.
Right. Yeah, this is like landline phone, and I remember talking to you, and like you the first time you told me your last name, I was like, fuck off. Real. That's not real.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah. So but
it is.
It's real. And you're like, here's a photo, and this is what I look like.
Yeah, because that's what we used to. That's what you did.
Yeah, you sent a photo of you. Yeah. I think your wife, and your first kid.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
You know, I was like, here's my family, and here's me, and stuff like that. And I sent you a dick pic, probably, but
it was close. Yeah.
But no, so that progressed into like more phone calls, and even calling like on the phone, like you and Matopi a couple times, like.
Yeah,
drinking at night, and we'd be on the phone for like an hour.
Yeah, because we basically almost talked every day back then.
Yeah, on the phone quite a lot for a while.
I mean, even if we weren't playing, we were talking about something.
Yeah.
And then it eventually came up like, hey, why don't you come up and visit?
Yeah. And it was right after you were going to a concert that we planned this, and I was living in Elma at the time.
Yeah, and of course this was early 2000s.
When do you remember when did this game this game launched in like the spring or early summer of?
It was like 2003.
Was it that late already?
It was.
Had 9/11 already happened?
Yeah. Yes.
Had it? It wasn't 2003. It was earlier than that.
No, it wasn't.
When did SWG come? I know. I can never remember. No, I can never remember.
Look it up. I think it's about 2003.
When did SWG come out? 90. No.
It was definitely not 1992.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Is that a band?
That's SWG. That's Sisters with Vocals. Wrong.
Isn't that a Christian band?
No.
I don't know.
No, SWG was a fucking gnarly like 3-piece lady R&B band, man.
I don't know.
Show some respect. Show some respect. Huh. Oh, it was. Damn, that's weird. That meant that. So I was still. It would have been. So it's June. So it was later that year. I think
it was that year.
That was when I started. Yeah, because then in 2004 is when I moved back home. Okay.
Because I want to say it was fall. Because I think it was getting a little chillier outside.
Yeah, I remember
we
us
got wearing jackets when we went to that weird.
Never forget
that weird lodge thing.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Because then we went to the. Yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. So. Anyways, so that's how we ended up meeting. Was I was living in Elmo. We were talking on the phone. Anyways, and then we started the guild. You were you were the guild leader. I was like second or third in command at that point.
He was our home decorator.
I was the guild home decorator, the guild house decorator.
It was a problem.
It was not a problem. It was.
He's like, do you think this skull looks good here? I'm like, it's like right where it was yesterday. He's like, no, I moved it like 3 inches to the right.
It was a Rancor skull. No, it was a crate dragon.
Because we were awesome.
Because we were definitely very awesome. So, but anyway, so that's how we got to first meet. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just talking on the phone because that's how you had to do it back then. But, so
we used MapQuest to get up there.
Yeah. Did you have an itinerary built for that day? I wonder.
Yes, I did. I always have a freaking itinerary. We were going to a concert and everything. We went and seen that. We were just talking about it today. We seen Lamb of God, Gojira.
Yep.
Trivium and Machine Head.
Yes.
First mosh pit for me.
First mosh pit. That's a pretty good mosh pit to start out with, actually, too.
It was really solid.
That is pretty sweet. So, so talking of SWG, of course, being a gamer, and you drop, of course, EverQuest as well too, and how you even got your first name, whether D&D or just some computer based game. But you've always been a pretty large gamer, and you've kind of leaned into it, I would say, as well too.
Yeah.
You're a gamer of all sorts. MMOs probably still. Would you say MMOs like your main bag still, or no?
I think it's shifted in the last few years because MMOs have died so much. During their heyday, like you couldn't swing a stick without hitting a new MMO because you had SWG, you had EverQuest, you had WoW in its infancy at the time. You had I could go on and on.
RuneScape,
RuneScape,
Knights of what is it, Knights of the Round, or no, not
I know which one you're talking about because it's right there at the tip of my.
Yeah, well, Knights of Camelot.
Knights of Camelot.
Was it, right?
And I've played almost all of them.
Yeah, you really have.
But I would say now I've leaned more into. I love survival games.
Yeah. Like, Jesus. Don't say that. Don't say it. He's gonna say.
I still love my RPGs and my story-based single-player games, but I would say my bread and butter is survival games, and it's just because you can't finish them. But unfortunately, there's this big trend now of like
survival games,
progression survival games, which is like
a hybrid RPG, right?
Yeah, because you get to build all this stuff and survive, but you can't move to the next tier till you go beat this weird boss out here. And the Valheim started this stuff, and then like you do that, and you go, well, eventually you're going to hit the end of that, and it's like, oh, there's nothing else for me to do. So that's well,
so that's a good. So yeah, there isn't, because you have this insane issue with when a new game comes out of either power leveling or getting to max level or beating all the game within the first week or less. Do you sleep?
Not much. I talked about that with today.
Yeah, that's true. You don't sleep.
I average 4 to 6 hours max. I never sleep over 6 hours.
I don't sleep well either. Yeah.
No matter when I go to bed. Like I went to bed. I don't know. It was around 1:30.
Maybe you need some CBD or something now that it's legal.
I would love to.
Yeah, something to think about.
I would love to get like a cavern where it's dark and cold,
right,
and cover up and just let me sleep until I wake up. Just see how long I could go.
Yeah, you probably go forever.
Yeah, probably till I pee in my pants. Yeah. But
what is that? Is that, would we call that an addiction? Like what? How does that work with your power level thing?
I don't think it's an addiction, right? Like. Definitely the games nowadays are designed carrot on a stick, right? Mm-hmm. So you keep pushing. It's like, I just need a little bit more. I just need a little more. And I am very hyper aware because of things that have happened in my past, in my life, that I do have problems with addiction. Thankfully, it's with video games, right? Like it could have definitely went down other paths in my life. It really could. Yeah. So it's with video games. So when something comes out, I want to play it. And I just play it, right? And if you build a game and the story doesn't catch me in the first hour, I'm not really paying attention. So it's just like skip, go on to the next content. First Descendant. There's just not much story there. I'll watch the cutscenes because I respect the CG artists and that kind of stuff. But I just like playing. And I think I get in such a zone that I don't even realize I'm what level.
So it really is just like this, almost like the grind for you is almost like, that's the addictive nature for it. It's getting to that next step. It's getting to the next step. Yeah. And then you get exhausted because you get to top level and you're like, now what am I supposed to do? Yeah. Well, everybody else is still, the rest of us are all level 12 and you're level 64.
And then you all get pissed at me because you're like, oh, you're wiping out everything and I just have to follow you around.
Well, I've never gotten pissed at you because I've been used to this for 20 some fucking years. Yeah. Matter of fact, because of my outside of Star Wars Galaxies, and early in my MMO days, I had definitely had a gaming addiction issue. Star Wars Galaxies brought that out a lot too. EverQuest kind of did too, but I never really minded because I would get power leveled due to it. Yeah, you would pull me through a lot of shit, and I'd just be like, whatever.
People don't like that, and I respect that.
I don't give a fuck. That's the thing about me. Like I don't care. Like if I'm skipping all this time to get into a point where I just like grind the other shit. Cool.
And I think the core basis of this is, with me, time is valuable. That's why itineraries are so important.
But Jesus, the itinerary.
When I'm playing a game with someone and they're like, "Hey, I want you to make a character that you only level with me," it drives me. I do it because I love my friends. I really do. Yeah. But there's times where they're like, "Hey, just a second. I'm looking at my inventory. I'm reading this quest text or something," and I'm just standing there. And if you had a camera on my face, I'd just be like.
He would probably be sighing. When did the sigh start?
I don't even know.
Was that before me?
Probably. I've probably always done it. And I think it's...
He's got a distinctive sigh when he's like... what is it? Is it annoying? Like, what is it? What is the sigh?
It's subconscious.
Look at how you just did it casually.
I deal with a lot of like inner ragey demons, and I think you get that. And sometimes the best way to deal with something, and people will tell you what, take a deep breath, and let it out. And that's what it is.
It's
right?
like a dragon breathing fire, though. It's not like, I mean, it's not like you're trying to relax yourself.
Because what I'm doing is actually like
trying to burn the person in front of you with dragon fire.
No, it's stopping myself from saying what I might actually want to say.
Oh.
And breathing those out into the cosmos.
Yeah. Okay.
So that I don't say them. Because if I actually said most of the stuff I want to say, I probably wouldn't have any friends.
That's true.
So,
okay.
I mean, I struggle enough as
Okay.
it is.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think that's pretty fair. Sometimes it's just a bit, but
right. So with all your gaming and video games now, and now D&D being a big part of your life, which we're going to jump into here very shortly. Growing up in the Bible Belt like you had, how tough was that for you to enjoy things like vampires, talk about those things? Was this stuff you had to like not talk about around certain people or certain events or certain things like that?
You had to. So
because you were deep in that.
Yeah. So I mean, like I always say, we were in the buckle of the Bible Belt.
You were definitely in part. Yeah. So the buckle's wide there, but yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and I would say that like your classic monsters, your Bela Lugosi's, that era. Nobody cared about that stuff because they were from the 1940s, so they were okay, right?
Yeah, it was like
there was no
black and white sentiment.
Yeah.
No sexual.
No
like charm.
Right. What got into it though was like D&D at that time, Satanic Panic, the height of the Satanic Panic actually, which was the late 80s into the mid 90s, and me going to a Christian school, like everything was a crime, so even an outlet like that was demonized, so you had to hide everything.
Can I ask what denomination? Is that okay to ask?
Yeah, it was Free Will Baptist.
Okay.
And they're not even like the most strict.
It's a Southern.
No,
is it Fundamental Baptist?
Southern Baptist or Southern Baptist, but
okay.
This is different. So I mean, it's not like. I mean, there's a lot of deeply conservative things about the Free Will Baptists.
Yeah.
I mean, no electric guitars kind of stuff. The music is bad before you even get to the lyrics.
So it's like literally like Footloose, can't dance.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And this is the Free
Will Baptist.
Free Will Baptist.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, like lots and lots of stuff was just not acceptable. So you did have to hide it. So like I spent the night at my buddy's house. We'd play D&D all night. And then you couldn't talk about it.
You wouldn't be able to talk about it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Because word would spread like wildfire in a small town like that too.
The typical church rumor mill like was just times 10 at the school, right?
And you were going to was it a parochial school of some sort?
It was just a private school.
It was just a private school. So like had you gone to a public school, it might have been say a little different, but like
I would have just been ostracized as a nerd, which I can deal with.
Yeah,
so,
well, that's
which is cool now, I guess.
A lot of stuff,
but not there.
Now it's cool. Yeah.
But I actually remember there was a group of us. There was probably 6 or 7 of us that got together and we played D&D one night. Probably the least productive D&D I've ever played in my life. I don't think we left the tavern.
Were all of you part of this private school?
Yes.
Okay. So you were all hiding this stuff from like your friends, family, church.
Well, one of them gabbed and it got out to the principal.
Really?
I don't think they listed names, or if they did, they never called us to carpet on it.
What does that mean?
Brought everybody that was involved to sit down and talk to us.
I've never heard that term.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting. Yeah.
If you think about like a preschool, when you call it a carpet, there's a round rug and everybody.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Makes sense. Cool. Yeah, I just never heard that term. Yeah.
So what they did instead was every Wednesday we had mandatory chapel. It was like a class where they preached to us. Well, the topic was D&D. Now this is pre-internet.
So they brought okay, you're in the what year do you think circa say 93, 92,
94,
94, yeah. 94 was about when I got into it cuz second edition really kind of blew the
first
cover
edition
off.
Was rough.
Yeah, second edition blew the cover off of it. That's I think. So anyways, yeah, continue.
So we had this chapel service about it. And they were talking about how D&D makes you kill your parents and like all the stuff they were listing. I had to be sitting there like this because none of it was, me, I'm a rules guy, right?
Yeah.
So I used to take the player handbook, the DM guide, and I just loved reading it. Like, oh man, this is really cool. And I'm just thinking, because they were like, oh, these boys killed their parents because in D&D you get extra points for multiple hits. And I'm like, what? No, none of this. That would be cool.
Right, right.
You don't. So it was all this like big fear campaign.
Right. It wouldn't help that the like mainstream media had already been through this in the late 80s with the Satanic Panic. Like, there was somebody that attuned, like, I think they either killed themselves or something.
Well, yeah, there's a great video out there on YouTube if you search for the Satanic Panic that actually encapsulates everything I'm talking about here, and it was true about people who said there were actual spells in the spell book that had words that you would recite. None of that was true, even in first edition. You know, in fact, they just found out, and I don't know if you know this, as they're going over the new edition right now, that the components actually are all a joke to the spell. So mind read, the spell, requires a coin, penny for your thoughts.
That's pretty funny.
I was like, oh my God, I've never put 2 and 2 together before.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
And they started going through a bunch of them. And I was like, okay, so, and these are all original to the first edition, right? So
that's funny. I didn't know that.
So after that, the guy who was a DM, he actually went and talked to the principal, and the principal's like, well, the big deal is that, you know, there's multiple gods in that universe. That was their big problem, that there were gods in the universe, a pantheon, and there's only
in
one.
A fictional universe.
Yes. Oddly enough, our DM that DM'd all through high school is a preacher now. So,
do I know this person?
Yeah.
I do know this person. I thought so. Okay. So I picked up my first player's handbook in 94 as well, too. I got it from an On Cue, matter of fact. I think it was 94.
Oh, wow. It's back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, big time. And it's 94. And even my mom, who's somebody just like, doesn't usually talk about or think anything like, you know, is this like bad or anything like that. Even she was a little bit like weirded out at first that I was playing D&D, and I'm like, I was just straight up like, I told her literally, because I was already into Final Fantasy and like RPGs. I'm like, well, it's literally a video game on paper. She's like, well, just be careful. And of course, you know, when you're playing, you have people to play with. The people I started playing with, I was like one of the younger guys, and the DM, who I'm still great friends with to this day, was like a few years older than me, right? You know, so
same with me.
So that's how it always worked. Like your group, you always had like this person that was way older than you, somebody just a couple years around you. It was like, you know, just how that kind of worked.
Stranger Things hit it right on the head. It was the same thing with Eddie. Being the DM.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was.
Yeah, that's really kind of how it worked. But we would just literally go to my friend's literally his grandparents' house on Saturday nights, and play out in the screened garage on a warm Sunday or a Saturday evening, and play till literally like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, you know, 6-7 of us sometimes. So it's interesting because like you were deep thick into the Bible Belt part of it. And even me, who up here in Michigan, in an area where like we weren't very religious growing up at all. And even my mom was still kind of like, oh, wait, I saw some stuff on the news kind of thing.
Well, that's the thing. It was on the news.
Yeah.
Like people were putting it on the news. And of course, back then there was no internet. You couldn't fact check anything. So you just had to believe whatever you were told.
Yeah.
And I think that was the big thing. And I really wish I would have been able to see how I would have turned out had I been able to play D&D to deal with some social things.
Yeah. So, and that's, you know, one of the great things about D&D at this point is now it's huge. It's popular. We're past all that. You know, it's definitely a way for introverts and people who normally might have social anxiety to have a way to express themselves through a character they build. And I mean, there's a lot more. There's a lot of great things you can say about it in that sense, anyways.
And that's the thing I think that just it melts me when we do like Midland Mall Comic Con.
Yeah,
because you see these people. And I'm not going to give some of the names we have, because we don't know anybody's name, but we know these people because they keep coming back.
Yeah.
But you see these people come back that have some of these social issues and cues and curiosities and things. And to watch them like start out as this like just shell of a person. And by the end of this hour-and-a-half session, they have bloomed into this wonderful active, and you just see the smiles on their face, and you can tell their spirits are high, and you're like, you need this in your life all the time. It's going to help you grow as a person, and to just not demonize it. It's not scary. It's not.
Lean into your imagination,
Yeah, it's
as
not,
long as it's good
crazy.
it's good within reason, man. It's all good. So, so that's a stepping stone to where you're at now. That's just notching the bets. Now, of course, you're doing, I couldn't remember if you got into D&D late in life. Clearly now it's your main hobby. It's what your content is. It's what you've been getting into. So let's talk about, for a moment, 7 dungeons specifically, 7D dungeons technically.
Yep.
Where did that name come from?
It's dumb. It really is. We needed a name.
Right.
We didn't have a name. I think it was like, you were like, you got to stream it. Well, we got to stream it under something. Mm-hmm. I think, didn't we originally start?
You started as Drasten. Yeah, you started as Drasten.
It was Drasten's Gaming Empire, right? So we were doing it under that. As we kept doing the streams, we're like, well, it needs its own brand. It's not just me.
Right.
It's all of us.
Yes. Yeah.
So when you're looking at, when you're playing D&D and you're dealing with any monster or any player doing an attack, it's like, oh, roll 2d6. Mm-hmm. So we're 7D.
Which is rolling a 6-sided die 2 times.
Yes. So I was like, well, there are 7 dice that you use when you play D&D. So 7D, the dungeon. So 7 times of it's like the dice is the dungeon. So it's 7D dungeons. Right. That's what you roll. Okay. So you roll all the dice toward the dungeons.
Right. There's some thought there. That's perfectly fine.
That's what I was thinking.
And you have, how many people right now are active in your, because it is a conglomerate. I mean, you're clearly like the DM, the captain of the ship, but like, who are your current active players right now?
So we have 5 players right now. Mm-hmm. We had 6. We've had 1 retire since we started that stepped away, which is fine. We were good with that. But I have Mike, which I even tell my guys he's my number 2. Mm-hmm. Mike's the one I originally started playing with. We met playing D&D. Right. I have Jeremy, who does all the 3D printing and all that kind of stuff, and I have Chris, another Chris, and I have Jeff, and I have James. Mm-hmm. So all those guys form the 7D group.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and then you guys are deep in Shadowspark Chronicles right now. Yeah. How many episodes in now?
We're in the 70s now.
And you ended the first campaign, which was called
Edge of Darkness. On the Edge of Darkness.
On the Edge of Darkness. How many episodes from that, if you recall?
There was over 100. I think we had 123, 125. Right,
which is a lot when you consider it's 2 to 3 hours every Monday. Which you can check out on, of course, YouTube, Spotify. Yeah. It's a whole, the whole thing, that entire campaign's out there.
I mean, they're out there. The first.
I mean, it was your first go doing a campaign like this, so I mean, that's a lot to do.
So yeah, so there's some history there why that even started. Do we have a question?
No, I just I see the St. John's Jason just popped in. Just wanted to say hi. Good to see you, buddy. He's out in Vegas right now. Appreciate it. This is the new content we're doing. Welcome to Let's Set the Tone. Talking with Drasten, the Dungeon Master here. So good to see you, buddy. Hope you're well.
So the whole reason that the first campaign even started was I was working with some folks, and they were like, I've always been curious about D&D. Can we play? At that time, me and Mike were actually playing in a different group. Mm-hmm. And I said, yeah, I'll run a one-shot for you.
Right.
I love a good cliffhanger to end something, if you may remember when I did the one-shot for you and Dude and all them, we kind of ended that way as well. There was like some more stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Which we'd love to pick back up some point.
Yeah.
FYI.
That gets into more discussion.
I know.
But they basically said, you can't stop here. We have to do this more. So
they wanted more.
So now I've built this like mini story that I have to expand into a bigger story. How it always
starts, though.
Yeah. And it was very linear. It was very much like you need to collect the sword pieces and kill the bad guy.
I mean, again, that's also usually how it starts out with one shot. It's
a good way to start.
Yeah, it's a good way. Yeah.
So that went for a year and a half, 2 years, 2.5 years, something like that. I can't remember. When this one got done, I said, guys, I want to go a different direction with campaign 2. A lot more thought went into it, a lot more notes.
We're talking about Shadowspark?
Shadowspark.
Yeah.
It's a world. And I explained it to them as it's an organic world. Mm-hmm. They're going to make choices but the other path they could have taken is still going to happen, but they have to choose which one's the right path. So it's a lot more open world. I'm not guiding them as much. They're adapting, but
begrudgingly,
but they're already seeing like, ooh, we didn't chase this avenue and this happened. And I'm like, yeah, but if you didn't, this would have happened.
Right.
So I love it. From a writer standpoint, it gives me a lot more flexibility, and it's not like go to point A, go to point B. You won, good job, clap.
Yeah. I mean, from a RPG and a storytelling standpoint, that's kind of what you want, like almost like a choose your own. I mean, to me, like if I had to like equate that to a video game, it's kind of like how The Witcher would work. Right. Like you got to a point where you had a choice one way or the other. You make a choice. It's literally shit in one hand, shit in the other. Just which pile of shit you want, and whatever you went, like one or the other would affect other things down the road, of course, as well too. And that's how I think good storytelling should be. Yeah.
So I mean, just a quick example of I mean, right early in the beginning, they went into a crypt and there was an undead thing there. They didn't feel they were powerful enough to kill it, so they ran away from it. Nothing wrong with running away from encounters in D&D. It is something I've built into this campaign, like. Because the characters can always come back and go, we're stronger now, we're going to kill you. But in this case, it wasn't built for that.
Right.
But they ran away anyways. This gave me a new little story arc that popped up. Because now we have this undead guy they let out, and he's free. They got hints.
Member berries.
Yeah. So they got hints that he was moving through the town looking for them. They encountered him once. But then something happened with the player, and they had the choice. Do we go try to figure this out? Or do we go save our friend? They decided to go save their friend, which got screwed up. But while that was going on, this undead guy has gotten more powerful. He's regained his old power. He's moved in, and he sacked a city while they were gone. So on their way back, they see a city that's just burning. Now they have a big problem. And no friend to show for it.
Right. Yeah. So it's pretty cool.
That's what I'm enjoying about it. I'm getting some the organic nature. Everything's just flowing and living.
Now, there's been times in the past you've needed some creative help coming up with decision making and some things. Anybody you know that's good at that kind of stuff?
So I go to my wife. Like she's
that's funny. Yeah, that's great.
No, I actually do run some stuff through, like some of the puzzles and stuff.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, she's actually pretty supportive of you. I mean, she goes to Midland, so you know that's good.
I couldn't do Midland without her.
Yeah. Honestly, you really couldn't at this point.
I'm so glad that she goes.
Yeah, you're absolutely,
because
it would be tough.
It would be very tough. She's our booth babe, one of them.
But absolutely.
No, I used to bounce stuff off you quite a bit.
I know.
Pretty heavily in the first campaign, but then there was a lot of chatter about you joining the second campaign. I know. And I kind of had to pull it.
You were really
being
trying.
The nature of the organic nature, I can't really give you.
I know. It sucks because that was one of the things I used to look for on Sundays. Is you'd be like, okay, here's some things I'm working on.
Yeah.
So I don't know that I'll probably be able to join the campaign outside maybe being just like a know-nothing NPC.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to bring that back, I miss that a lot. That was
I've been on a really good mental track lately. So I
just told me to go fuck myself. That's what that was right there. I'm kidding.
What I want to do is, if that's the case, I want to give you an area and go, hey, this is what's going on there.
Yeah.
You tell me how you want to handle this. And I did this with the first campaign, actually. Nobody knows this. One of the guys I went to school with, who is a fantasy writer, some of his stuff is on Amazon, Bo Hudson. He actually wrote one of the city events that was going on in the first campaign.
Very cool.
So he just gave me some notes. He's like, hey, I think there's this going on and this going on. And like, this is this. And so I was able to take that and mold that into it.
Well, I remember some of the stuff that we did together in the first one that I really liked was like some of the eldritch shit, the tree and the king. Yeah, some of that stuff was really good because you had the horror music going on as well too. Like, you guys gotta understand, like, if you have not seen Seven Dungeons live, like, not only is there a lot of crazy ambience and environment setting, but he's got a voice modulator now, of course, you've been using for a while, that does different voices. Who's one of your most popular? Who's one of the most popular that you've done as a voice?
Oh,
probably from the first campaign, technically.
It's always because there hasn't been really one. Well, there's Crow in the second one.
Yeah.
Crow is probably my favorite character. Favorite voiced character to do.
Yeah.
Colton Frost is probably my favorite character I've ever done. Famous voice from the first one, I would say, would be. I
already know who it is. Whether you think.
Who would you say?
Leo.
Oh, really?
Leo, man.
Leo, man.
Exactly.
Hey, him.
Yes, exactly.
That one I actually only add an echo to, so I don't have to do much.
And he was the sentient staff, right?
He was like the sentient part in the staff.
That was
he was great.
Everybody always loved that, man.
But Crow is my creepy. Basically, imagine the girl from The Ring. That's what Crow is.
Yeah.
And she was just an NPC. I had no intentions for her doing what she's doing, but my players decided to like adopt her and bring her home.
That was wild when they did that too. And that's one of the fun things about that is being able to take an NPC like that and then them all of a sudden like now you're like, well, I got to build a character.
Well, they've adopted 3 NPCs now.
Jesus.
And I love it because I can then take them. I knew from the beginning, I'm like, I'm going to give my players a house and they're going to spend money to fix it up and do things with it. And now they've got a place to always stay that's free.
Yeah.
And, you know, so then I bring these 3 characters in. I'm like, okay, they've got these characters. These are now the NPCs doing stuff around the house. So one of them gets them discounts on things around town because he's building these relationships. Crow builds traps and bombs and stuff to give to them. You know, the other one does some repairs and things. And so like and they now have a cook that lives there as the one that does repairs turned the house into a bed and breakfast because they were gone for too long and thought they were all dead.
Right.
So they were trying to turn.
That's right. Yeah. That's pretty funny. That's cool.
So yeah, it's allowed me to have a lot of fun. But
and as your characters have grown and those kind of things happen, and I mean that's because when you think back to some of the players that have stuck between both campaigns, like as players, there's been some growth, right? I mean, it's like some of these guys have like gone from this one way and now all of a sudden they're doing a character and they're like fully invested as well.
And I'll say this, I like all my players do great. They've come a long way. I think like James has come a long way because this was, I think, a little bit out of his realm to do.
Well, you're also doing it in front of people in some form, whether now or later. Like that can be intimidating too.
And he really came a long way in his role playing, and he always sticks to the bit that he builds with his character, and he does good. Mike does fantastic, but he's got the most experience out of my team. His characters are great and unique. Jeff is the newest addition to the team. He's doing great with his character, and Chris and Jeremy do fantastic with theirs. And RP's the best part, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Combat's
fun, but like for me, it's almost like distracting. I like to do it. Don't get me wrong. I especially since I play a rogue, it's fun. But yes, RPing is.
So we've had some, and this is part of the heart tree you mentioned earlier, which was definitely one of my favorite parts.
Yeah, very cool.
We had a moment in the first campaign where Zoromir's brother, they finally found him. He was down there. They get into the final fight. He goes down. They weren't aware of it. They weren't watching. And I was rolling in the background. He dies. From there, we did like this whole funeral procession thing, like where one of the characters picked his body up and they carried him to this place and they took him and they all said their last right. It was very real.
Yeah. It was very,
one of my
very
players got tears in their eyes, and like, I that's what I'm looking for, that emotion. And then they found that hidden coven of elven people, and like there's a whole thing about an unintentional vampire there and like killing him, and then the children taking reign, and like there was this whole spiel. It was such a beautiful thing, and I love that with the RP.
Really
like
neat.
When you can have those emotional moments, whether they be anger or sadness or even joy and hilarity, but
that's and you, so like you can't really prep for that. You hope it's going to get there. I mean, you're prepping at this point, right? Is like how long? Okay, let's say this. So you're thinking about it constantly, I would assume.
Yeah.
But when you actually sit down to prep, is that typically still a Sunday thing?
It's always Sunday.
So, and how many hours do you think you stop and just invest into prepping for that Monday session?
I usually start around 7 or 8 in the morning and go till noon.
You're up that early on a Sunday?
I was up at 6 some today.
Yeah, I noticed that, by the way.
Yeah.
I got up at like 11 after 8.
Yeah, you did get up earlier, but
today
everyone's still in bed at my house for the most part.
Yeah.
So it's quiet. Nobody's bothering me. It allows me to sit and think about it. Typically, I have concepts that I'm trying to get out there, or I have to deal with stuff with the channel itself that I have to get done. So I spend a lot of time prepping, but you can only prep so much. Now I do narratives. if I'm doing a dungeon crawl, I've got to build maps, and that kind of stuff, which takes time. Even if you build the map, it does, like, you've got a map, but you still have what's going on in that room.
Right. And you don't even know if it's going to get to that point.
Yeah. They're going through an area right now. They've missed like 3 or 4 rooms.
Jesus. And how has there been anything big recently, like you put together, like you feel like you spent a lot of time into, and it's just been like a breeze through, like didn't even think twice about it? Has it happened?
Not as much a breeze through as much I spent a lot of time on it and they missed it.
Yeah.
They didn't pick up the hints. They didn't.
Yeah. Does that drive you nuts?
It does.
Yeah. Do you sigh at him over it? He's sighed right there.
But it's part of the game, right?
It is. You know, you're going into that's going to happen potentially.
Yeah. Some of it, I'll cut the text and I'll put it in my supplemental notes, and I'm like, I'll use that later. Yeah. I can use that later.
That's what I was wondering, if like you kind of like bank that stuff. Be like, okay, well, this room clearly was really awesome. It's going to have all this cool stuff. Like, I can use this concept
somewhere else,
right? Yeah, that's the nice thing I think about that.
So that's not bad.
That's cool. That's probably the smart thing. That's what I would do. I mean, I haven't DM'd in so freaking long. I mean, I started to at one point, but we know that didn't last very long. So, so what would you say? And like, you know, keep in mind, like the last time I tried DMing was over like, you know, it was Zoom. I think we were using that for the Cormier campaign I was trying to start, right?
I'm not even sure it was Zoom.
It might not have been
like Discord or something. I don't know.
It might have been. Regardless, what do you feel like from, you know, of course, analog, tabletop, and going to digital? What's been the biggest struggle overall? Maybe there's multiple.
I mean, getting around a table is great, right? I think there's the things that you don't get with digital that you do at the table is inflection, you know, body language, that kind of stuff. You just don't get that around the table. Digital gives a lot, though. I mean, you've got the virtual maps, which you make gorgeous. You know, you're not just drawing grid on a paper and saying, imagine this. You know, we've always talked about theater of the mind, which was a huge thing when we were growing up.
Yeah.
I don't have to theater of mind because I now have maps that are little mini videos that things are bubbling and moving and
so
shifting.
Wild now. The software for this stuff is great.
Yeah. So that's great. I get a benefit on the digital side. Digital tokens, you know, I don't have to buy and paint minis. I mean, if you think back how much money was spent on minis back in the day,
so fun,
you know, painting them's great, right? It's a great hobby. But if you think it's like, oh man, you're getting a gray mini today because I don't have time to freaking paint it.
Well, now it's just fun to do as a side thing.
Now we're getting digital. We're getting virtual tabletops coming soon, like with 3D mapping and all this kind of stuff. And the biggest benefit of digital is it's accessible to people. Like my players are up in the New England area and down in Florida, and they're all over, but we play every week. You know, getting a local group is tough.
Yeah.
And getting everybody together to come to your house and drive, and all they got to do is sit at a computer and they're done. So, I mean, their biggest complaint's digital dice, but that's a whole...
Boy, I'm glad you brought it up before I did.
Yeah.
That would be my struggle, is I like rolling dice.
Everybody likes rolling dice.
Yeah, the digital dice thing is, I get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it. Matter of fact, I got an app on my phone from, you know, one of the Star Wars, like, I think X-Wing game has just random dice on there you can do for, like, D&D as well, too. It's fun. It's fine. But, like, man, does the digital dice just drive me? No, I'm one of those ones. And I know your players feel pretty strongly about it, too, because it seems like, and I know you were even trying to do it today, there's algorithms, they're weighted, they've got all this crazy stuff figured out, the whole thing about them, but it just seems like they roll low most of the time.
Well, nobody complains about digital dice when they're getting back-to-back natural 20s, 16s, 17s, 18s. It's not until they get a back-to-back natural 1 that they're like, digital dice suck.
That's a fair perspective, too.
And it's like... Yeah. So I have actually taken the digital dice due to, you know, a particular situation, and I rolled it 30 times. And then I looked at the data. When you average them all together, it's right where it should be. It was at like 10, 11 average number.
Oh, whatever.
The data tracks that it's just as random as a normal one. I think the difference is I didn't touch it, so it's not real. That's the problem.
I think it is probably psychosomatic.
And I think it's that little bit of that Vegas thing that the dice are, you know, you go to Vegas and use a digital slot machine. Oh, it's set up to not give me the right thing, right? And with digital dice, you're saying, oh, it's set up to make me fail. But the dice don't give it. Like, they don't care if you succeed on a check or not.
I don't know. I don't know if Skynet comes online.
My rolls are just as bad.
Yeah, you do roll it.
I use digital dice too.
Yeah,
so like, and it's funny. It's like DM always hits or something like that. But like, I use digital dice too. I'm not doing special magic. In fact, my dice rolls are like the players could see them if they had the stream up because like I don't hide them. So
well, bullshit either way. So that being said, lastly, you know, really about the D&D thing is like, I know she wants to play. I want to play really bad. So maybe we can somehow talk, at least doing like another one shot with like, you know, some members of the B&B community or doing something again as well too. Is there some way we maybe will talk you into that on a Saturday night maybe again?
Yeah, it's not a problem. I think if you were to get the number of players, right? Yeah. And you were to say, this is the date we can do it. Yeah. I'll have something ready by the time you get there.
Fair enough. Okay.
But if you say, you make something and tell us that you're ready, then we'll get a date. I'm never going to do it.
Fair enough. Well,
I know me.
True. Yeah. Well, like I definitely see there she is, Dr. Ass. She says yes. So
I mean,
Dr. Ass. It's Dr. Oh yeah, she typed Dr. Ass instead of Dr. Ass. So.
You just come down here after this. We'll play tonight. Yeah. I just did. I think I told you about this. Like we just went to a meet and greet.
Yeah.
In Middletown. Yeah.
Middleton.
And I see a family sitting there with a starter kit, completely lost, nowhere to start, and when I'm in the zone, my sales zone, it comes from my work. Yeah. That like, I just was like, first time, like, we don't even know where to start. And I sat down and I ended up explaining all the rules to this. There was like 8 people around me at this time. Mike's like, what are you doing? You know?
What you should be doing.
Right.
Honestly, that is what you should be doing.
Because it gets our name out there,
well,
right?
Yeah. But I mean.
But like they're like, can you just run a situation like of how combat would run? So I did a whole thing, and like I did a whole description of where they were standing, what was going on. These goblins start charging at them. They roll initiative. They do all this stuff, and afterwards, one of the folks there said, "Oh, did you just like read that from your phone?" I'm like, "No, I was just spouting stuff off. Like it's just," and they're like, "You just come up with that?" I'm like, that's what D&D is.
That's the best part about it.
You just come up with it.
Yeah. I mean, jokingly, do you have an imagination, right? You know?
Yeah.
And some people are easier to pull.
Right. So like my wife will be the first one to tell you. She's like,
my wife.
Yeah. My wife. She's like, I'm an awful, she would not be a good D&D player. She wouldn't enjoy it because she's like, I have no imagination. She's like, I would go, open the door and yes. And I think we all...
No inflection.
Honestly, we all start that way. You know, like, I'm sure if I were to go back and painfully watch my first DMing sessions from Campaign 1, I would scream. Because, like, there's so much that you just don't know.
Right.
You know? And it's all about building that thing, that world, and that... I mean, when you read a book, it doesn't say, you're standing in a room... There's chairs there, you know, they're walking over to that. No, it's like, it's painting a picture. It's a red room with wooden floors. The floors are old and some of the nails have come up. Some of the boards are peeling up. The bed is disheveled. There's stains on it. The sheet. And immediately as I'm saying this, you to the viewer, whoever's watching this, they're going, I see that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what you want to do.
And that's what you want to do.
Yeah. Is it the adjectives? Is that right?
Just descriptors in general.
Descriptors.
Yeah.
Descriptors. Okay. Either way, but no, that's great. And you know, you guys have done such a good job. I mean, you know, over time, moving from, of course, Mixer to Twitch, you do have, of course, stuff out there. You guys will see this. We do talk about it, of course. Normal B&B, you guys are live every Monday at 7 p.m. doing this. You guys got to check it out one time. If not, go back and check out some of the recent stuff, or go through the entire Shadow Spark, or even go back to On the Edge of Darkness. Why not? You know, but you know, you guys have definitely continued just to get better, grow. You mean, you put a lot of work into it, clearly. You know, and it shows. And with, you know, being able to do what you do. I mean, I think you going into a shop like that and doing that meet and greet or whatever.
So fun.
Yeah, and being able to do just that, what you did with naturally, like, just like, you know, you got somebody like Mike even saying, like, what are you doing? Like, what you, but honestly, that is what somebody like you or I or somebody that's really passionate about it should be doing. Like, I don't know, like, if I would have been able to just jump into it as much as you do, because as much as I love D&D, the books and all the everything about it, I rarely get a chance to play. I live vicariously through you. That's why I love doing the creative stuff with you. You know what I mean? But because I absolutely love painting those pictures. That's the best part. And if you ever want somebody once in a while just pop on as a random NPC or something, if I've got time, which lately I haven't time, I would love to be able to do that.
It was a lot easier in the first campaign than it is in the second.
Yeah, it's a different world that's going on right now, which is, hey, it's just good to see you guys do it well and continue it.
You just don't want to miss the next couple episodes, because like.
Well, I got bad news.
Right. Well, it's going to be a bit.
Yeah, it's actually that's true. Yeah, that'll work out.
But like, I'm trying to break this one into acts where we're in Act 1, we're in Act 2 right now. Act 2, they're more like in the intermediate between Act 1 and Act 2 right now. Act 2 is getting ready to kick off.
Cool. Awesome. So, well, that's really the big one, I think, of all, of course, just because everybody knows you as Drasten, the Dungeon Master, of course, too. But I do want to talk some about another hobby. I
think that's time.
That's right. Another hobby that you really recently got into over the last couple of years, which is homebrewing beer. Yeah, and doing your own thing with that as well too, which I know we don't have one of yours out currently, which I was kind of planning on too, but unfortunately my
you drank yours too.
I did drink most of mine. That is true. I did drink mine too. That sucks.
There's still more. There's an extra bottle.
Okay, good. But you've been doing that for a couple years now.
Yeah.
Walk me through, and maybe everybody a little bit too, like, what got you interested into brewing? Why did you start doing it, I guess, or but also how you, this is one of the best parts about it, but also managed to like bring your D&D with it as well too, and kind of mix the two.
I like beer. I've always liked beer. I drink beer. Some get that. So anyone who knows me knows I turn into a particular person at a certain time of the year. The fall is my time.
Fall is our time.
Yes. I'm a pumpkin spice baby.
Two of us.
Pretty much anything pumpkin spice.
I tell everybody, when fall hits, I turn into a basic bitch real fast. Yeah. Really fast.
I mean, I put my juicy sweatpants on.
I've got my Uggs.
My Uggs, yeah. All of that.
Yeah, Pea Spice.
My hair blonde.
We know when Pea Spice is hitting. Like we figure it out. Yeah. We're looking for it.
And I just got introduced to pumpkin spice iced chai last year, and that was life changing.
So good.
I'm a huge fan. So what happened is, like, I usually stocked up on pumpkin beer. Like, because that was my thing. That was my quest each year. My beer quest was to find new pumpkin beer. And you remember the Pumpkin Slayer? That one, that coffee, that was like, that's what really,
that's what kind of really started it. Because for me, I would just pick up the Jacko. Yeah. Is it the Jack-o'-lantern, or what is it? The Sam Adams
Jacko pumpkin or
whatever that was.
Yeah.
That's where I start. And like every year I'd be like, oh, Sam Adams pumpkin beer is out. Oh, it's pumpkin spices. Yeah. And then of course, like if I drink coffee, I'm like, oh, the pumpkin spice cream is out. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Well, all of that's evolved now.
Those aren't even on the radar.
No.
I won't even touch those at this point.
Yeah, me either.
So what happened was, I want to say I'd gotten a bonus from work, or it was from a show or something. I got some little extra spending money for me, and I was like, how hard can it be to make beer? And I want to have pumpkin beer whenever I want it, right? So
that's what it was.
That's what it was.
You were like, I just want pumpkin beer anytime I want.
Anytime I want.
Okay.
I had no idea what was going to start with this.
Well, you should have, because it's you.
But as with any craft, because I got into 3D printing the same way and that kind of stuff, you make something the first time. My first beer I ever made was a pumpkin beer, which I should not have done. It wasn't bad. We had it.
Oh, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
But
we were just happy that
we had it.
Yeah.
But once you start doing a craft, you want to sample more crafts in that field to get ideas on how to make it better. And you just constantly improve. So I start brewing more. I start learning. You start learning a lot on the fermentation process and stuff. And then you start saying, well, what flavors do I like? What flavors do others? You try to make it. You see if it's a hit or miss, and you go from there. You build off of that. So I've been doing this for a few years now, and unfortunately, my test audience is up here because I brew in 5 gallons batches at a time. I have kegs now that I can put them in, and now I can bottle from those kegs and get creative with them.
You essentially got one beer friend locally.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
just Mike.
Yeah, so that's. I mean, I just got into it really to do pumpkin beer, and now I'm finding all these other things. It's like, I wonder if I do this. And it's getting more and more creative, and I take those and like the pumpkin beer keeps evolving each year into something different. Like last year we had more marshmallow in it. Too much marshmallow.
Stop. It wasn't. I mean, it was a lot, but it was fine. But it was drinkable. I still enjoyed it, right?
But it led to where I'm at today, right? Like, I think my latest one is the best one I've ever done. There was a lot of science involved with that one to get the flavor profiles where I wanted them to. I'm getting picky about my ingredients and where I get stuff from, but it's a fun hobby. My family hates it.
Because the smell?
The smell. It smells awesome. It really does. My family says it does not. It smells like oatmeal through the whole house.
Awesome. I love oatmeal.
But it's just kind of a raw, earthy, like oaty smell. Yeah, it's not a bad smell, but it fills the house.
Even way down there in the basement.
Yeah, it all comes up.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, you probably
because you're boiling it.
Not only that, but like your HVAC's there, so it's pulling in some of that.
Pulling it. I don't know what it'll do with the new system.
That's kind of funny, but it's either way. Yeah.
So brew day is not the most favorite time at the house. So, and it's a lot of cleaning and this and that.
Boiling.
But, like I take my spent grains, I put them in my garden, my garden does amazing because of it.
I bet.
Because it's got all that crap in it. I want to get into using spent grains to make dog treats.
Dog treats are great.
Yep.
Got to be careful with the pumpkin you can put them in, I found, though.
Yeah, you can't. You
not too much.
I can do it as long as I do them separate.
Yeah.
And I can't have hops in them and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I think dog treats would be good. Just reuse what we've got already there. So.
Yeah, might as well. I mean, a lot of people, they do the dog treats. Is there something else they do with them too? Maybe not. Maybe it's just,
composting,
I guess really composting is the big thing about it, which is smart, especially if your garden's doing well because of it, right? Why wouldn't you?
Well, it's a whole new nutrient that gets out there.
That's true.
So
that's true. So you've started all that.
Yeah.
And then you basically have created a name or a brewery name.
Yeah.
And what is the name of your brew house?
So the name of it is Unearthed Brewcana, and that is D&D themed because I thought D&D is the biggest part of my life for the last 5 years outside of family and job, right? So
glad you slide that in there though.
Yeah, I just want to paint the right picture.
Right. Give them some time too.
Yeah. My family's great. Kids are great, and wife. Did I hit everybody?
Leia.
Oh, my dog is amazing.
There you go. Now we're good.
Now it sounds like my dog is better than my wife. No, my wife is the best.
right.
So in D&D, when they're play testing new content, it's called Unearthed Arcana. And they push it out there to the community play test it, and they give feedback, and then they make changes that eventually make it into a final build somewhere, which is what we're seeing now.
Play testing, beta testing.
It's beta testing, basically. So I thought that fully encompasses my brewing. I'm screwing with stuff. I'm feeding it to people who will drink stuff that I create. And then I'm making changes to make it better. So I call it Unearthed Brewcana. And then I name every beer after something in D&D. So the first one was Jackaholder.
Which was of course, a pumpkin beer.
It was a pumpkin beer. It was based on a beholder. And I even did a little, I like to do label art.
It's pretty great.
And I did labels. Great. I actually got labels for that first one. I was all about that.
And you haven't done them since.
No, because it's a big expense and it wastes the bottle because I have to peel the freaking bottle stickers off.
Then at least do like stickers to give out with. I don't know. Anyways,
I could do that. Sheets of stickers I passed out.
She's got a sticker or label maker. Maybe we can talk about that.
You know, my current one that you enjoyed, you even said is probably the best one I've done. Long Rest.
Yes.
I did one for that. We had Manta Cordial.
Mm-hmm. So explain. So Manta Cordial was a
chocolate covered cherry.
Okay. We've done twice.
Yeah, I've done it twice. It did not turn out either time.
But the second one,
the stout is down.
The stout is down. Like, because we drank some on the show a while back, I think as well too on B&B. The stout you've got pat. Like, if you can just figure out that fucking cherry and that sweet, sugary, vanilla-y yum sauce with that.
Maybe with the new vanilla I could hit that. But
and I've been telling you already all weekend, I want you to try another stab at that. You don't have to right away, but I think what we're talking about and we're working on from yesterday and today, I think you're working on something special.
That one's going to be...
I think that one could be really special. But the Manta Cordial, yes, is a cordial cherry, and then I
did Ginger Dead Man,
which is a nut, which is still that's in my top 2 or 3. That's a close
I think
first.
if I redid that one, it would blow your mind because I've got the new vanilla to put in there. I don't think I put vanilla in the original one.
Dude.
I don't think I put lactose in the original one.
So the Ginger Dead Man was what kind of... So
I hand mixed my own gingerbread spice mix.
Yeah.
To put into
it was a
the
Christmas
beer.
theme.
It was a Christmas theme to put into the beer.
Yeah.
And I did it with... It was a brown, I think, style beer.
Yeah, I think it was because I think that was one of the ones where
we had a mission to make browns good.
Yeah, because you don't see enough browns out there.
We don't see flavored brown.
Yeah.
And dude, like, he got wasted on that beer. Like, he was going crazy.
Yeah, because we did the B&B 100th episode or something like that. I think he brought a bunch of beer. Yeah,
he was going crazy.
That was so fucking good.
I did a seltzer once, the pineapple Knoll Whip.
A Knoll Whip for the adult.
So yeah, I always theme on that, and it's really fun. I didn't have one for the orange creamsicle, but I can have a lot of.
You at least got to come up with a name for it.
I know. At this point it's almost gone. I only have a couple bottles left.
You still just got to have a name. I think everything you do has to have some form of name to go with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Even if it's emptied and passed and we don't have any more.
I even put them on Untapped, you know.
Like, so that's why I just found out that they are actually on Untapped. So now I can go back and give you little ratings. So
yeah, it's fine.
He's like,
no one else can get them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They are limited edition.
Now that I know that's pretty awesome as well too. But yeah, this weekend we have been talking about your next one, and I'm not going to reveal any of that. But
well, we're probably gonna do a pumpkin again because it's pumpkin season to do that if I can find time to do it.
If you're in the right mind, it's pumpkin season year round.
I always do it this time of year, but
because it'll be ready for the fall and it makes sense. Yeah.
So I know there's some things I want to try. I don't know. Like do I lean into the pumpkin slayer and do a little bit of coffee with it this time? I don't know.
And that's the thing with me. Like I feel like the like listen, I love coffee. I drink my coffee black. I don't mind creamer if it's flavored. I don't typically do sugar, but like I should say not necessarily creamer. I do like some of the flavored creamers out there. I would say I'm more of a syrup guy if I do it, especially if it's like a cold brew or something. But mostly I drink my coffee black, and I just feel like a lot of that stuff is so played out. Like everything's got coffee in it, and I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying like. I mean, if that's how you want to evolve it, just don't fuck it up. But you know,
I never do.
Yeah, okay.
Just a cherry cordial. That one has not come.
I'm telling you, that stout, man. That stout's ready. It needs to come back.
A lot of bottles of that left. Just sit there.
I sighed that time, but the one that we've been talking about this weekend has really got me excited. If you can actually.
If I can pull it off.
If you can pull it off. If it's something you think you can actually do, that could be really exciting.
Yeah.
I think, it's a challenge, and you've been wanting these. You've been challenging yourself in these last 2 that you've produced. Because you made that IPA, that mango IPA you made last year. Even though some people might have said it was too much mango, it was not. It was
a lot of mango.
It was, but at the time I was still trying to get my flavor back for the IPAs. It was a really good IPA, but the 2 you brought up this time, that breakfast ale is. It's like literally taking a cinnamon roll or like maybe even a pancake or whatever you want to say. It's vanilla-y, cinnamon-y. It's just, and it's light, but it's also 11.9
It's about 11%. Yeah, and
Jesus.
it's like 10.8 or
dude.
something.
It's why, and you can't tell. Normally with the boozy stuff, you can tell.
It's got bourbon in it,
but you can't tell. Now, I mean, you can taste a little bit of it, but yeah,
it's not like other bourbons.
Yeah, and the other one was the orange
creamsicle.
Creamsicle, which was light,
good, but a little more dry than I wanted.
Yeah, and that's fine. But the flavor was really good.
Flavor was there. The creaminess was there.
Yeah, the creaminess is definitely there. But I mean, listen, I get to be a beer tester.
Yeah.
So I'm never really gonna complain. I'm gonna tell you not to fuck it up.
Complain.
Well, I'm gonna complain. Yeah, you're right. I'm definitely gonna pick it apart. So
yeah. But you actually kind of rated these. If you're being honest, you rated both of these new ones pretty high.
Yeah, I rated both of these. Well, the orange creamsicle said about what, a 4.25.
Yeah.
But the breakfast one, I'm saying this, it's starting around a 4 or 5. I think it's probably hitting around a 4 or 5. Like, it's not perfect.
No, it needs more.
But it's pretty fucking close to being that, like, super greatness. You know, it's pretty goddamn good.
It's good.
Like, I'm gonna probably drink more of it. So
you don't have any more left.
Well, dude's not getting any then.
Oh yeah, he quit drinking.
Oh, that's right.
So we have 2 bottles.
We're getting drunk tonight. Probably playing Doomlings or Dungeons of Mayhem again. Either way, but you know, So that's good. Well, I'm glad dude doesn't drink anymore.
That's great. Thanks.
More beer for me. That's awesome because he was reckless last night. I reaped those rewards. So I'm really excited for that. But no, I'm so glad that I don't have the patience. I've always wanted to do this. One of my good friends, Matt, he had a brew store. He's always been he's the one that really got me into craft beer, so long ago. And I've always wanted to brew beer. I've always wanted to, but I don't have the patience. I don't have the patience.
I mean, right out the gate, for most any beer you're making, you're a month in.
Yeah.
Before even ready to drink.
I would be like a week later trying to sniff it or something like that. So
you can't do that.
Be able to do that. So
you'll infect it.
But I'm just glad that vicariously through you, I reap the rewards.
He drinks a lot of it.
Yeah. So
I give a lot of it to a salesman friend of mine too, because he drinks it all. So when I need bottles back, I'm like, here's 8 bottles. Return them when they're empty.
Right.
And he's like, he's not a craft beer guy, right? So he's only drank like Budweiser and that kind of stuff. So he's like, these are the best beer I've ever had in my entire life. And I'm like, you bet you want more.
Yeah.
I need those bottles.
Yeah. Well, but I mean that you could also be the gateway for him now to say, maybe I'll, instead of going to this cabinet, I'll go over here and maybe grab something different.
So
that's what it takes.
I'm trying to teach him.
That's what you got to do.
And I've been testing on some of the folks at work too, which they are harsh critics as well.
I can only imagine.
They are harsh critics.
Yeah, that's what from everything else you've said, I'd imagine they're probably.
Yeah, the one guy there, his dad like ran a brewery for a while.
Oh, so it's that kind of harsh critic.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like he had the orange creamsicle one, and he's like, "Did I taste some coriander in there?" And I'm like, "Nope."
Sorry, good try though.
Might have got it from the hops, but he actually said he was like, "This was really good."
Well, that's
so.
Well, and as you've already heard me say, the one thing I say is when you do a new beer, don't fuck it up. That's it. So
yeah.
But hey, so I know we're getting there, and I definitely want to get into a few more questions and kind of bring it home with you as well too. So, I feel like to really kind of break down some of the day as well too. As far as you yourself, it's clear that you are also known for some other things.
Oh man, that could go so many ways.
It really can, but specifically about how awful it smells when you shit your pants. When you fart, it is something I feel like we've mentioned. I think I used to call it. I think I've called it a rancid or acid smell. And there's, I think, comments before about melting paint off the walls.
I don't.
Do you want to talk about this? You don't. So
I don't know. I wouldn't allow Josh to call in right now for an event today. But I don't know what you're talking about.
You almost killed Josh today while I was in a rest area destroying their toilet and my guts at the same time as well too. Thank you, Ghost Pepper, once again.
I have enzyme issues in my stomach.
Right. That's what it is. Enzyme issues. Is that really a medical thing that you have? Do you have something?
I have piece of acidosis. Yeah, it's critical. It's fatal for other people.
Yeah, for other fucking people. There's been times where we've been driving and you specifically have rolled up the windows before you bust ass.
I think that's the real story, is like, I'm malicious about it.
Yeah.
But I will also say I give everyone a chance, because usually people poop on me first. And I say, I accept your challenge.
Yeah, I accept your challenge.
So you bring it on yourself.
Oh, come on. When I toot, it's not even...
Today,
no.
Before Josh was fatally injured.
Yeah, his nostrils were destroyed.
Did he not fire the first shot while we were headed down?
He was definitely firing them off from the back seat.
Yes. I don't choose to be what I am.
Right.
But I will retaliate.
Yes.
And I have ways to make it worse. Like, I know my body enough. I know what to consume.
That's awful.
I can't believe we're having this conversation.
We are definitely having this conversation. So let me ask this. So I have found that you maybe one time clogged a toilet so bad that your fear of potentially getting in trouble over that, you ran away from home. You want to give some context to that?
Who have you been talking to? My sister? No, you wouldn't talk to my sister.
You want to give some context to that?
Yeah. My siblings are awful.
Oh, okay.
No, that's
a whole other topic.
That's right. That's the basis of this all, because I'm the youngest of three. And they enjoyed tormenting me to an extent. My brother more than my sister. But we had, and this will probably hit, because like this is just how it was. But anytime you did something wrong, you got the you're gonna get in trouble,
sibling stuff,
and you got to like stretch it out.
Yeah.
So like, you live in fear. Right?
How old?
I mean, I was probably 6 or 7.
Jesus. Okay, you were doing things that awful back then.
Always had some kind of stomach issue.
Wow, Jesus.
At least it was solid.
Have you talked to a doctor?
No, why would I?
That sounds about right.
So, sure, and let's be fair. Like, toilets in 1980 weren't like what they are today. The holes were smaller. I'm selling that. Y'all can buy it.
Continue.
So, yeah, I plugged the toilet, and I was asking for help.
Were you at your parents' house?
Yeah, my mom was at work. Dad was probably at work. He worked like 16-hour days. So,
Foundry, I'm sure.
Yeah, because he would work doubles.
Right.
You know, and I was like, hey, like, where's the plunger? Like, what'd I do? And it was, your mom's going to be so mad when you get home. You whoop, she's going to beat your butt. Like, they terrified me. So I was like, I'm out of here. You know, I'm stupid. I'm like, you know, I'm like 6, 7 years old, maybe a little older. And like, so what do? You can't catch me. I was a fast little fart in my youth.
Yeah.
I took off. I'm agile. Out the front door, gone. Well, we grew up in the city park, like behind the house.
Yeah.
I ran down there, and we played hide and seek as like a hobby. I knew where to hide. So I went and hid like a troll under the bridge that was down there in the creek. Well,
how long were you there for?
I don't know, probably a couple hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll eat the creek chubs, and you know.
Were you really doing that?
I was like planning out how I was going to survive.
At 6 or 7 years old.
Like, what am I going to do?
You were
like,
playing Ark Survival already.
But like,
as
I'm
a
stupid.
kid. Okay.
Like, I don't know what I can eat and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they're getting in their car, like driving around searching for me.
Who's they?
My brother and sister.
Okay.
Because they were of driving age. And
God, you're that much younger?
Yeah.
I guess I didn't realize that.
Yeah. My sister's several years older.
You weren't planned then.
No, I was.
You were planned?
Yeah. I mean, look, my kids are super spread apart too.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
But in the end, they ended up getting in trouble for putting fear into me to make me do it.
So it flipped.
So it flipped on them. So
right. Did you finally just jump out and say, "Oh, I'm right here"?
I think I got hungry. I came home.
Oh, did you now? So your brother and sister were looking for you, but you didn't get out when they were.
No, I heard them driving by yelling, and I was like, not moving.
So Yeah. So did you wait till your parents were home to come home? And were they freaking out?
So. Like I can't remember.
Were they freaking out? Do you remember any of those?
No, it wasn't like it never got to that point.
Okay, so you came home before maybe they got home from work.
I think they called my mom at work and was like, told him the situation, like, we can't find Chris. And then of course my mom's like, what'd you do to him?
Right.
And then it all came out. And then she came home and then they died. And
yeah, I got the whoopings, didn't they?
Yeah, they got him. I didn't.
Yeah, no.
You know, so then I realized, the power you can have by manipulating people.
That's great. So instead of turning into Batman, you turned into the Joker.
No, I mean, I thought this was going to go because there was another situation that was similar, but...
Was there? Well, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
We can talk about that. You just brought it up.
There was a situation that happened at a work site in the foundry. The same.
Which the foundry, for all intents and purposes, from the area you grew up in, was like the main, that's where the guys went to work.
Yeah, I was third generation there.
Third generation at the foundry. Is that foundry still open?
Yeah. Grandpa worked there, Dad worked there, and then I worked there.
Is it steel? Is it steel mill?
Aluminum.
Aluminum?
Yep.
What do they make?
Recycled aluminum. That's
Recycled
it.
aluminum. They recycle
They take aluminum, they grind it up and melt it down and put it in a new car.
Lose fingers, hands.
Burns, yeah.
Burns probably
Death.
the most.
Lung damage,
Jesus.
Cancer. I mean,
you hated working there.
I hated it.
Yeah.
Pay was good at the time.
Well, you was manual labor though, right?
It was all manual labor.
Yeah, you hate manual labor.
I mean, I still have scars and burns and stuff, but I mean, Dad was almost killed there. He was blown up, so it was
wild.
Yeah, crazy place. But the maintenance shop had this nice toilet. And
elegant.
If you have never been in a foundry bathroom, they are disgusting. Next time you go to a public restroom and you walk out and you're like, this place is gross. No, it's not.
It was probably similar to the bathroom you made me use at the gas station today.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue.
But foundry is worse. If I mention the blue cycle hand towels that you have to dry your hands and face off on.
Oh God.
If you don't know what those are, it's worse. It's disgusting. People blow their nose in them and everything. You know what I'm talking about.
Familiar.
Yeah, they're awful.
Yeah.
So this was a kind of a private bathroom in the maintenance shop in the back. It was like raised up on a pedestal.
Did everybody know about it?
Yeah, but like nobody went in there because it was the maintenance shop, right? You didn't mess with the maintenance guys.
You did.
It was late. I used it. It didn't go down.
Because you used...
No, by itself, it didn't go down. Yeah.
Like, was the toilet broke, or you literally just fucked it?
Like, it got stuck. So I left it. No witnesses, man. Nobody's going to see you walk out of the maintenance
no cameras,
shop.
nothing.
3-4 weeks later, something came up in conversation with the guy. I was talking, and he's like, dude, did you hear what happened in the maintenance shop? I'm like, no, what? What happened in the
you're thinking...
I wasn't even thinking of it. I was like,
you were just thinking maintenance shop issue.
Anything could happen in the maintenance shop.
Right.
They're like, some freaking truck driver came in and dropped a deuce.
Truck driver?
Dropped a deuce so big it got stuck. And it took him like an hour to get it undone.
Did you admit right there?
I had to. I was dying. I was like, it was me.
Wow.
And they were like, just wide-eyed. But yeah.
That's,
if only they were that solid now. Anyways.
Damn.
I can't believe this is the route we went down.
Oh, you knew. Well, you might not have known it was going to get there. I knew it was definitely going to get there.
Yeah, because you've obviously talked to someone who remembers that situation.
Yeah, I know some shit. So, literally. Lastly, about this topic, and we'll definitely move on. I know there's probably people already like, I'm not listening to the rest of this.
You guys are childish.
This is real life. You and I have this really interesting connection. I mean, I don't know if it's just 20 plus years of friendship. No, I don't know.
It's magical.
Is it magical?
It's magical.
What is it?
When we go to use the restroom,
yes,
we telepathically communicate to each other because, and I don't know when the bit started.
Years ago.
But I would sit down to use the restroom and I sent him a text and I'd be like, you pooping? And he was like, yeah. And this has happened more than 10, 20 times.
Yeah, we're talking like this is a consistent thing.
Yeah.
On like it might not be weekly, it might not be bi-weekly, but it's definitely like a consistent thing that
so
comes
we call it our poop telepathy.
Yeah, poop telepathy. Yeah, poop telepathy. That's what I got written. Poop telepathy. Yeah, I don't know how that.
It's the weirdest.
It is the weirdest thing, and maybe it's because we both just out of nowhere just start either, especially in the era of like WhatsApp and Signal, just start talking or texting or like Discord or something like that, and then maybe just because we've been idle or working all day,
we don't talk that much when we're actually working.
No, yeah, we really don't. But then all of a sudden, unless I need something, of course. Yeah. But then, yeah, just really random about.
It's super weird
how that friendship over 20 plus years now. So
there's nothing private in our lives.
There really isn't much these days. So, favorite book you've ever read?
Man,
do you have a favorite book?
The problem is I've read so many, and like when I think favorite book, I have to think of like I've read a lot of series. Like I've read Game of Thrones. And when I say read Game of Thrones, that has been in the postmodern area. I listen to them on Audible. Yeah. I will say I read them, but I listened to them.
Sure. Well, let's say I want to talk read though, like analog, like a book. What's the last book that
last book?
Not even that. Like however you want to answer that. But I always feel what's your favorite book or just maybe favorite series you've read. That's fine.
It's hard because I'm a super Star Wars fan, so
right.
like all the Star Wars books for the most part are pretty good.
Yeah. Old EU
minus Aftermath. Yeah, old EU stuff was great. Timothy Zahn trilogy, Kevin Anderson,
Troy Denning.
Yeah,
even R.A. Salvatore.
But like, if there was a book that I was like, this was my favorite book, it was Jurassic Park. I read the novel when I was a kid,
which is funny because you just
because it was so because I think I read it more than once.
Yeah, same.
Because there is a stark difference between Jurassic Park the book and Jurassic Park the movie.
Yeah, and the matter of fact, the second movie actually brought elements back from the book that they didn't use in the first movie.
There's what would you say? 33% of the first book isn't even to the movie yet. Like the opening scene of the movie is that far along in there. Characters are different. Like
a lot
kids
of different
ages. There's a lot of Michael Crichton's a fantastic author. Like it was sad that we lost him way too early to cancer or whatever. But like his books. I read a lot of his books. I read Congo. I read
Great
Sphere. Book. I read 13th Warrior or whatever. It was called Eaters of the Dead, which they changed for the movie to 13th Warrior for whatever.
With Antonio Banderas.
Antonio Banderas.
I'm a huge fan of that movie, and not a lot of people are. It doesn't
get a lot of respect, and I
love that movie.
This is very controversial, but I wish they would remake it with a bigger budget.
Yeah, that's
because the story is so good.
Right, but I used to be obsessed with that movie. But anyways, continue.
So, but Michael Crichton, a lot of people don't realize Michael Crichton wrote as much as he did. I mean, he was a scriptwriter on ER. You know, a lot of the stuff we enjoy. There was a time one he did where they go back to like medieval something or other. So I would say the original Jurassic Park. I read The Lost World and the other ones he did as well. I just really enjoyed the book. I was such a huge dino nut as a kid when that movie came out. I was sold on dinosaurs forever. Yeah. And I still believe we'll be able to clone them someday and have dinosaurs back because of these books. But the book itself, the Jurassic Park book, is so intelligently written, even with the images of like the fractals and showing how they change. And like, I used to write computer programs to generate fractals on the screen back when, like computers didn't do a whole lot, because I was so fascinated with chaos, and how that kind of stuff works. So I would say that was probably my favorite book I've read.
The chaos theory and everything is way more prominent in the books as well too.
Yes.
And Ian Malcolm and all that stuff. Because he right before we went live, he had noticed my Jurassic Park book. Man, that's been worn out. Because growing up, that was like, I want to be a paleontologist as a kid. I was obsessed with dinosaurs.
Me too.
Shock. So yeah, but
we could have been Indiana Jones together.
You could have been Marion. You could have been Laura Linney or whatever her name is, and I could have been whatever. Anyways, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What is a controversial hot take you have that you will die on the hill on that nobody agrees with?
That's a dangerous one.
What is your controversial hot take?
Man, on what topic?
Just anything. It's a from the hip.
Oh,
What's your answer? First, something already came to your head. I can see your gears turning.
No, I'm trying to think of one that's like a real hot take, like that I do die on the hill about. because a lot of the stuff like that I really do like die on the hill about in general are like very fact-based things, like, and you know, because we agree on a lot of those things, so it's not a hot take.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You got to come up with something. Okay.
You'll hate this.
Oh, great.
I am a huge fan of cryptozoology and ghosts and that kind of stuff.
I had a feeling this was going to be the one.
Yeah, and ghosts are my thing that I will die on the hill that they exist. And it's just because of what I did for all those years. I can't explain what I've experienced.
Yeah.
And recorded. I would say that, and I still think Bigfoot's real. And I think Loch Ness is real.
I actually do think Loch Ness is real. Because I like a lot of cryptozoology. I like the crypto stuff more than I do.
Yeah.
Ghost shit, I'm 100% skeptical. And it's going to be a tough one to ever.
Right.
At one point in my life, maybe different. But again, you know, for down the road, we've got lots. I mean,
I have great stories for ghosts.
We've definitely, if you guys like some bullshit.
Even stuff like my family and other people have experienced, like in a house I owned.
I've experienced stuff as well too, but I still just don't.
And you should be. Everyone should be skeptical of any kind of thing like that. But cryptozoology, I think, is the coolest. And I am so happy about the newest trend that people are freaking out about, which is skinwalkers. And that's something I've followed for so long. And they've gotten so popular that my oldest daughter won't even talk about. She's like, you can't even say their name because they'll come and get you. And I'm like, that's not how that works. But
yeah, okay.
But like Chupacabra, I think there's some truth to Chupacabra.
Everything starts from somewhere. There's always something that's, you know what I mean? Like,
and that's my favorite statement is there is no myth or legend that exists in life, in our history, that wasn't based on some kind of fact at some time. I believe dragons at some point were probably real, but were they dinosaurs or some other kind of monsters or something? It's too strange that multiple cultures across the world reference something that looks exactly like the same dragons without ever meeting each other, anything else. So something like that existed. Now, what that was it a massive misinterpretation?
Did they dig a dinosaur bone up?
Did they dig dinosaur bone up and misinterpret?
Yeah.
So everything is grounded in that. So when you talk Bigfoot, Chupacabra, even skinwalkers and this kind of stuff, aliens, I'm more where you are. Like, I've even experienced something weird, but space is so huge. Like,
I always say with aliens, it's a possibility
because the galaxy's massive,
right? But the probability is super low because the probability for life, for the conditioning for life, even with all these exoplanets we're looking at, it's so minuscule.
And why would they come to Earth?
Right.
Because we suck.
So
and megalodons are still alive.
That's your other hot take? Is that the fucking massive sharks are still?
Those are the super big sharks.
Yeah, the super big sharks.
The common statement: we know less about our oceans than we do space, and like there's some deep spots of stuff. I mean, we just discovered giant squids were real. Like what, 10 years ago?
Yeah, but they're not like 20,000 leagues under the sea size. There could be some out there.
They're big.
They're 20 feet, but that's not like taking a sub over.
But could they?
Maybe. Anyways, maybe that next time we have you up here, maybe we'll get into some cryptozoology and some ghost stuff as well too. I think that'd be a good topic to get into. So, last couple things here. We've actually gone a little bit over more than I want to, but I appreciate everybody taking the time. We both do. To be honest with you, I mean, this is 20 plus.
We have these conversations when the cameras are off.
Yeah, we really do. We talk about everything. Have you and I actually ever had a real argument to the point where we were like pissed at each other that you can think of? I've got an answer to this, but I want to see if you got an answer to this.
I would say yes. And I would say disregarding the bit that you're...
Disregarding the bit, okay.
Because it's deeper than that. I think back in the day, we got in a specific argument about politics at the time, and I would wholly admit I was severely uneducated in that, and you know why.
Yep.
And you know where I came from in the background. To the point that we both just were like, you're not worth my time to talk to at this time. You know, more not like that's not fair. And more like I don't really need to make an active effort to talk to them because we're so different, you know, and we really weren't. We were just, stupid. So we didn't talk for maybe a couple years.
I don't think it was that long.
Wasn't even that long?
Yeah, it wasn't even that long.
Yeah.
I would say there was a period in time right around 2000, late 2009 to 2010-ish. I would say it's more like within a year time spread that we didn't talk for a few months. I remember that. And we were playing. We were playing either Rift or Star Wars: Old Republic.
It was one of those.
It was during that time. I think it was Rift actually, because
Rift was such a short window because we played Rift for it
was for 3 months of a summer,
and then SWTOR came out
because I was up late playing with Matopia, and then SWTOR dropped. One of the big arguments actually happened on Ventro or whatever Vent or whatever was playing actually Old Republic.
Might have been.
It was. I remember. I remember trivial shit like that. So that was what I was gonna say. It's like I don't know, like it was definitely about that sort of stuff, like politics and things like that nature. But
it was definitely that.
It was a lot of but then was the rise of a lot of like line drawing. Regardless, the topic is irrelevant at this point. But I was just trying to think. That was really it, because there are times recently, even in the last couple of months, where like.
we haven't seen eye to eye on some things.
Yeah, and we'll get into like heated like debates, and
everyone
arguments,
thinks we hate each other.
And everybody, and it's that's why I wanted to bring it up, because everybody thinks that we get but I mean it's
so one of the personality traits that we have, and I fight with this at work every day, is that when we get passionate about something or we're trying to convey our point, we slowly get louder.
We get louder.
That's me.
Louder. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm angry.
Yeah, and 90% of the time, I'm not angry. It's just that I feel like you're not listening. So if I'm louder, you'll listen.
Right. Exactly.
And so when you get me and him both on an opposing side of something, we just keep getting louder and louder, and we're not angry. Like, and I tell him, I'm not angry. You're just not listening to me. And with our personalities, we also tend to, as we get louder, we throw more bits in, which kind of knits and grinds at each other. So it sounds worse. Yeah. And then it's like, the next day we're sending poop sound effects to each other or something, so like,
it's just kind of funny how that works.
Yeah. That's the only time I can think of that we like disagreed to the point like that we just didn't talk.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a whole different era, but
and God, how many years ago was that now?
Well, that like I said, it was
15 years ago.
Yeah, it was about 14 years ago now. Yeah, during that time frame. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The Rift summer, the summer of Rift.
Yeah, and it caused a rift.
It did. A little existential for you. Last thing, I know we're running a little over, and I do appreciate if anybody's been out there. If you're listening right now, of course, or watching on YouTube, definitely appreciate it. Now you're gonna look at my. Oh, I thought you were.
I'm looking at how I'm gonna be the offering tonight.
Bert's been doing bits out here. From your words, what is it when I say, "Don't be a Chris"? Did you know that was the question I was gonna ask you?
No, but it's like I would say, and you can feel free to disagree or not.
It's irrelevant what I think. I just want to hear what you think.
It's but no, you can disagree or not. I am fully aware of what I'm like to be around. I am.
Which is?
I'm difficult to be around.
Yeah.
I am a correctionist. I love facts. And a lot of it's my job, right? Like I live in a very precise fact-based world. Mm-hmm. So when someone says something wrong, I might correct in grammar. If you say mispronounce something like Middleton instead of Middletown,
it's Middleton.
I'm going to maybe punch you in the throat. And I realized that I've had friends of mine that their wives are like, if I didn't really know you, I wouldn't like you. And I'm like,
right.
You know what? That's fair. I probably wouldn't like me either. And I run into other people who are just as bullheaded as me. So, and I get it. So in what I view being a Chris is just being that, just correcting people,
creating itineraries,
being obnoxious in that way, not an intentionally obnoxious, but just my personality. So I get it. I own it. You know, I know what I am.
That started 2 years ago.
It was a bit you guys created on the way down.
Kind of on the way down. And then when Josh and I got there, we ran it. And that first weekend that we were doing that, you were not pleased, which meant because visibly you were showing you weren't pleased, means we were ratcheting it up every time. We were ratcheting up, and we still do it. But no, it's just want to hear from your own words. Just want to I like making sure you're self-aware, and you are. So
I'm very self-aware.
I know you are. Very
my poor folks on the 7D team have to deal with it all the time.
Yeah, that's what. But we both have that trait as our self-awareness. I know all of my good and bad traits, and I'll list them all day, and I'm aware. So, and that honestly, which is the best way to be. Self-aware is the best way to be. The problem I think part of today is that people are not self-aware. And I will die. That's something I'll die on my hill.
You say something on the right day, in the right vein, in the right way, you'll see the whip snap around, and I can crack them back.
Yeah.
There's an unfortunate situation with that, and you know, like I blame it on life experiences that have made me this way and things I've dealt with. And I told my wife, like, my wife pays from the sins of my past, you know, so she deals with a lot. Mm-hmm. And she actually has to like live in the same house as me.
That's got to be awful.
Yeah, she's a strong woman for sure, for putting up with all of this. So,
well, you know, I wish I had a beer here to clink with you, but we're gonna play games and hang out for a little bit anyways. Either way, you know, you're still here till tomorrow night, Monday morning, and then coming back next weekend out of nowhere, which is great and exciting. So
a lot of work stuff.
Yeah, a lot of work stuff coming up. But you know, it's been. You know, I'm very fortunate in my life because I have a lot of friends in my circle, and I've got a good number of close friends in my circle, but I got a good net of really, really, really close friends that are like, I mean, I think we, all intents and purposes, consider ourselves as close as brothers as we could ever be.
Yeah, and we met on the internet.
And we met on the internet, so...
Yeah.
Just saying out there, you can meet your true love on the internet too.
eHarmony does work.
Right. You know, but you know, here's to 40 more. I mean, we've even planned Disney trips together at one point, so we've really been through a lot of the things of it all, you know. And I think
the compound in Arizona, you know.
We're planning our someday. Can't wait to retire to Arizona.
We open our tavern.
Open our brew house tavern and
serve Kogels there.
Definitely Kogels.
Get them out to the west.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have someday. White Castles there.
Someday, the dream. But you know, honestly, it's been 20 years of a lot of mostly ups, you know, a few downs, but you got to have the downs to get through to the good stuff as well too. But you know, honestly, I always say, and I even said it this weekend already, like if something like WhatsApp being created turned us from like doing phone calls once a week, every other week, or once a month into literally just talking about bullshit that doesn't matter all day, every day. And now, of course, Signal, of course, because end-to-end encryption is very important.
Yes.
So don't use WhatsApp, use Signal.
Yes.
Very, very. They're not
need your messages.
Right. They're not a paid advertiser or anything like that. But just telling you from personal experience, Signal's awesome. You can donate. I donate monthly. Yep. I give them money, but no, it's been crazy and fun. You welcome me into your home. We come down and see you and do stuff as well too. And
I've got to know Josh from all this.
You've got to know Josh for this.
Thing for me.
Yep. You know, I mean, there's other friends of mine that you've become friends with as well too. Sean, Chance, Schmerid, you know, and like Matt, you know, different people as well too. And it's not easy to mix friends in different circles. No. But, you know, we've always been able to do it pretty well, which is really, really awesome. But everybody knows that, you know, you're really important to me and will always be. So, but thanks for being able to do this for sure. I know I was really excited to have you on with this as well, too, as we continue.
And you learned some things.
I learned some stuff tonight, too. So, you know, even after 21 some years, I'm still learning some stuff. So, yeah, I know.
Just an old married couple.
Just at that point here. So, but again, thank you, everybody, for taking the time to, you know, get to know Drasten, aka Chris, Drasten, the Dungeon Master of 7D. Make sure to check him out Monday nights, live 7 p.m. Eastern, twitch.tv/7dungeons.
Yep.
of course. And then you can also check them on their YouTube as well, too. Make sure to give them some love out there. They're always putting out different content and stuff to catch up to.
We got catch-up videos.
Yeah, catch-up videos and stuff, too.
If you're into playing Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, there's some videos on there.
even that.
Like almost popular.
Yeah. See, it's crazy. It's crazy how that works. But it's fun. But, you definitely, we love being able to do the beer quest together where we take you as 7D, banter and babble when dude can be there, of course, as well. But at least one representative of B&B, and then of course Josh, half his beer review, doing the beer quest as well too. And that's when you get up here, we go down there, we try to do those as well too. At least get one or two in.
Found your favorite brewery ever.
Found my favorite brewery ever, Third Eye Brewing Company out of Sharonville and now Hamilton, Ohio. So. No, I definitely appreciate, everybody, getting to know Drasten a little bit as well too. It's been 20 years of fun to be able to do that. So, and I love, hey, D&D, even though I don't play it now and I want to play it, I always think about it. I've got a massive D&D shrine back here because I love it so much and I still don't play, but I think about it all the time. I obsess about it. I just want to stink and play. I need to find time. That's on me. But, and of course, being able to drink beer. So a lot of your hobbies spill into my hobbies in some ways too. MMO gaming in general. So yeah, it's pretty fun either way. So, but I appreciate it. Thank you everybody for coming and hanging out for another episode 1 technically now of Let's Set the Tone. There will be a Banter and Babble here, proper show this coming Wednesday, 17th. Drasten might be able to be on that. We're hoping that's going to be able to work out because he's going to be working in the area. And then the following Friday on the 19th, another Let's Set the Tone will be dropping with Rohit Raju of, TNA Impact, some AEW fame as well, too. So that'll be fun to get him on here as well. And then we'll work on the next guest after that. So still playing it by ear. Hopefully the audio sounds better. We're still working with the audio best we can. Got a new setup. We're playing around with some different things. We're getting there. So if you're out there and you're listening, if you got some feedback or some ideas, let us know how we sound as well too, as we still try to correct that. But thank you so much for being here and just listening or just be hanging out. And of course, thank you for being a good sport about all this as well too. I didn't have a lot of dirt on you, but I was able to dig.
Well, there's not a lot of dirt on perfection.
That's being a Christ. With that, everybody, I hope you have a good evening. We'll see you soon.
Did you just fart?